तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। Yadetat satyam ekanta purushartha sadhanatvat. That is what we are discussing. Ekanta means it alone is the one that can promise the result, because it addresses, primarily because it addresses the problem, the basic fundamental problem. What is the basic fundamental problem that is coming in between you and the fulfillment of your desires? The hidden blocks. Because nothing else, other efforts, like when you make an effort, when you bribe an official, all this you are taking care of the variables that are known and knowable. This is the only one that can inoculate you against the hidden variables manifesting themselves. Because see, karma, action, creates karma phala, and because of the previous karma phala, I am being inhibited in all my pursuits. Correct? So whose karma is that? You cannot say it's the brother-in-law's karma, it's your own karma. Correct? So that karma is, can you see it unfolding? Yes?
Yes.
How?
These blocks come.
Yeah, but before the blocks come, do you anticipate the blocks?
No.
No. So you don't see it. That's why it's called adrishta. Adrishtam. It's invisible because it can waylay you suddenly. And so you don't see it. It's not visible to the eye. Adrishta. Adrishta phala. That's why it's called adrishta. So you counter this adrishta by creating more adrishta. This is the, what is that? Karmic antibiotic. Yeah. How do I create adrishta? Through prayer. Do you see the effects of prayer? Well, yes, I feel calm, I feel non-stress. That is drishta. If you can see it, it's drishta. But then it also creates adrishta. And this adrishta goes and becomes a astra to that adrishta. So you create positive adrishta in order to counter what? The negative adrishta that is unfolding and threatening to unfold and waylay you at every corner. So that's why it is unknown. The connection is not seen, because this adrishta is like a killed virus that goes and attacks the whole thing, so that it makes you immune to that. If the prarabdha is not prabala, we say this. Prabala means if the prarabdha is not too strong, what happens? It is neutralized completely through prayer, through these rituals which are prayerfully done. If the prarabdha is too strong, it's like that fellow who went into the temple, that devout fellow who went into the temple and came out with a scorpion bite, and the non-devout fellow who stood at the door of the temple, and then not only did the scorpion not bite, but got a bag of gold. Correct? So his prarabdha was prabala. That holy man comes and tells, in fact you should have died. That scorpion was the most poisonous scorpion. But while biting, it gagged and coughed. So not much, not much venom came into you. So that means what? Your act of bowing at the temple reverentially and invoking that which is the source of creation, as from the standpoint of the devotee who is at the behest of all the laws that govern the creation, created that karma which took away the death. It kept the death in abeyance, but still, since the karma was very strong, one had to have a bite. This is what the thing is. it took a big bite out of the karma, the scorpion bite. The karma of death, it reduced to just a few days of, gimping around. And then, the other one, had a lot of good karma, but since the hidden variables were not taken care of, instead of finding a whole truckload of gold, found only one bag. So this is how it is. If the karma is strong, it will reduce it. And that it has reduced it also, you don't know, because the jiva doesn't have any tolerance. Oh, why did I fall sick? Maybe one was, maybe you were supposed to not even be around, but you have fallen sick. That is better than this. So we don't see it that way. And since everything is at the level of invisibility, it's very easy to take it for granted and say the yajna did not work. That's why the mantra says tadetat satyam. It's not that the yajna didn't work. The yajna could not, hold a candle to the strength of your prarabdha. So, but it mitigated it. It either neutralizes, if the karma that you're born with is too much, it neutralizes it, or completely, is not too strong, it neutralizes it, or if the karma is too big, it mitigates it. And since you don't see any of these things, it's all called adrishta. But then the only way of tackling adrishta is to create more adrishta. That's why this becomes only purushartha sadhanatvena ekantam. That's why it is called satyam, because it's the only thing that delivers. No other thing delivers. And also it's a pramana. Another meaning, it's a pramana. It's a means of knowledge. Knowledge of what? Knowledge of how to influence my karma and become friends with it. Yeah. So, तानि च वेदविहितानि ऋषिदृष्टानि कर्माणि त्रेतायां त्रयीसंयोगलक्षणायां होत्र अद्भर्यु उद्गात्र प्रकारायां अधिकरण भूतायां बहुधा बहुप्रकारं संततानि. Yeah, so let's go till here. Yeah, तानि च, and furthermore, all of them what? All these karmas, these yajnas, in the form of yajnas, the Veda Vihitani, what kind of karmas? Enjoined by the Vedas and seen by the rishis, erstwhile rishis, rishi drishtani, those that were mentioned, the mantras that were qualified by the following adjectives, the ones that are situated in the Vedas, enjoined by the Vedas, the ones that are called satyam, the ones that are seen by the kavis or the rishis, and the ones that talk about karma. All these are qualifying the tani. What are they? These are the karmas. Okay? Yeah. What kind of karmas? Religious karmas enjoined by the Vedas, seen by the rishis, talked as satyam. These karmas talked as leading to the relative satyam. These karmas tretayam. Because tretayam is the word used in the text, that is being explained as trayi sanyogam. Means a group of three is called Treta. Tretayam, Trayi Sanyoga Lakshanayam. Tretayam is seventh case. So, in the Tretas, means in the Treta, in the threefold Vedas. Anandagiri or I think it's Anandagiri. The Tika says that it can also be taken as Treta Yuga. And why? Because apparently in the Treta Yuga, and Rama's time, that people were given to a lot of yajnas. See, everything had a kind of a, what's its name? Feature. So, what was the feature of Satya Yuga? People were into Nididhyasana. They were contemplating, they were contemplatives. In the Satya Yuga, this is just a belief. And, in the Satya Yuga, people were all contemplatives. And they would just sit and be very calm and very non-reactive and do things which, which were like meditation and contemplating on the words of the Vedanta. And then in the Dwapara Yuga, they were into a lot of, their minds were very quick, and they were into a lot of innovations and inventions, and it was the time of doubt resolution, which is why Arjuna asks so many questions. This is just a belief. And in the Treta Yuga, they were fed up by this time that nothing is happening, and of course you see Satya, see the words Dwapara and Treta are both the number of years in relation to the Satya. Satya Yuga, twice the number of years, Dwapara Yuga, thrice the number of years is Treta Yuga. That's why it's called Treta. And so, not only in terms of years, but also in terms of the degeneration of the ethics and the people's ways. So, Satya Yuga, people were very, calmly and calm. And then Dwapara Yuga, that's why Krishna had to come. Treta Yuga, even less. Kali Yuga, zero. Yeah. So this is how the whole thing also goes. So it's like a ascending order of the number of years and the descending order of human morality. Yeah. So that is how it is arranged, these yugas. So now one of the Tikakaras says that this Treta can be seen as the time where people just were very ritualistic, paving way for Buddha Avatara in the beginning of Kali Yuga. That's why Buddha came and said, "Oh Buddhus, don't do this ritual all the time. Sit and meditate." Yeah. That was his message. What is this going to give you? Where is the sorrow? And what are you trying to do? And this sorrow cannot be removed. So therefore, remove yourself from the sorrow by meditation and all these things, whatever he taught. And the other, what is that? These Puranas tell us this. One more interesting thing is that in the Treta Yuga is characterized by a lot of yajnas, is also validated by one of the Puranic stories. And what does the Puranic story say? Very interesting. It says that in the Treta Yuga, people were doing a lot of religious rituals, rites and yajnas. And if you do 100 Rajasuya and Ashwamedha yajnas, what happens? You become Indra in the next Kalpa. And Indra is given the transfer certificate. He gets a TC delivered by courier, And so anytime anybody starts to do a lot of rituals, Indra starts to have acidity. Yeah. In fact, Shachi has to keep that pink stuff. What is that? Pepto. Pepto Bismol right by his bedside because he cannot sleep at night. He has heartburn. Oh, I did 100 yajnas. He's the only successful one who has got so much punya by doing 100 yajnas. And here he is about to be displaced. So he cries in his sleep also. And then, when this happened in Treta Yuga, that not just anyone, not any one person, but everyone was doing yajnas. They had yajna for breakfast, yajnas for lunch, and yajna for a snack in between, and yajna for dinner, and yajna for the bedtime drink. And therefore, they were living, eating, breathing yajnas. Then what happened? Of course, Indra has had his little Pepto, Pepto dose. And then he called up Vishnu. And Vishnu tried to give him a pep talk and said, this is part of life. In this, you just should relinquish your seat. No, you owe me a favor. I had rescued you at some time. You owe me one. All right, what do you want me to do? Go there and convince the people not to do the yajnas and distract them from the yajnas. So Vishnu goes as Buddha, and tells people that don't do the yajnas. And he's so charismatic and very princely, because after all he was Siddhartha, the prince. He came from princely clan and left home seeing, And in fact, in his Kundali, it was written, in his birth chart, it was written that he'll be a very great king, the greatest the world has ever seen, or he will leave everything and go. And as I told you in the last lecture, that is a very alarming, the second, leaving everything is go. The renunciation is an alarming prospect for parents. I haven't still understood why, but anyhow, so it is. So, the father asked the astrologer what is going to be the reason he's going to renounce everything. He's Bhagavan, he's born, but he goes through being in the human body and all these leelas of study, marriage, children, etc. Then the astrologer tells him that if he's protected from too much introspection, things that will make him go off into his room and sit quietly and stare at the walls, anything that's going to be kind of serious, any seriousness, you have to keep only the surface level things, airy fairy, light, everything on the surface, and all just bhoga. No other thing that will spur his mind. And because once the mind goes into that direction of renunciation, and he'll be the greatest person in the world, he'll be one of the greatest renunciants in the world, and he'll have a lot of followers, either whether he's the king or the renouncer or a renunciant, he was told. But you have to guard him from anything that's going to make his mood, too quiet, pensive, sad, etc. So the king issues an order and raises the child in a bubble of joy. Everything only happy, light, surface, shallow. And then one day he just slips out. Sometimes he was sick of all this surveillance. He slips out and goes for a walk. Along with his friend, who was supposed to drive him, but he just, makes a friend and then goes out for a walk. And he sees enough to come back and just become very pensive. What does he see? An old person, full of vyadhi, jara, vyadhi in one. And then death he sees. That's enough. Sickness, old age, death. Put him off of samsara for good, And he just, goes, and after some tapas, and he also learns from people. We don't know that part about the life, but after a few false starts, he has a few gurus who mislead him. One of them says the way to moksha is by not eating, And then if you go to Thailand and some other places, you have this beautiful image of Buddha with skeleton, the ribs coming out, because that was during the starving phase. And then he rejects this teaching. He says, this cannot be the way. If I'm all the time constantly thinking of hunger, how can I meditate? And then he, after a couple of false starts, he finds his way. And this is actually Bhagavan Vishnu. So this is our story of how the Buddha avatara came. However, the Buddhists do not accept this. I have talked to many Buddhist leaders, and they say that we don't want to be our avatara. We don't want to be your avatara, first of all. We are our own people. Secondly, we don't like this story because it's a negative. People were doing rituals and Buddha is just a distraction. Come on, give me a break. This they don't accept. But this is how it is. So here, Tretayam, that is another ratification to buttress this whole Treta argument that people were ritualistic in the Treta Yuga. As the Treta Yuga came to a close, they became extremely ritualistic. That's one more thing. However, Adi Shankara does not go there. As far as possible, he avoids references to the Puranas. When needed, he will bring it in. But right now, it's not necessary. I just said it just so that one knows all these things. It's a little trivia is nice to have to broaden the horizon. So he takes it as Tretayam means that Rig Veda, the Vedas, these three Vedas. And what are these Vedas? He says Trayi Sanyoga Lakshanayam, that which is characterized by this threefold nature of what? Hotru. Hotru. How does it decline? How does it decline? Hotru. Word. Quick.
Is it like hotri, hotrini, hotrini, or hota, hotara?
Hota, hotarau, hotarah. Like Netru, Hotri. Yeah, same. Masculine. So, Hotru. Hotru means what? The one who is the follower of the Rig Veda and who is charged with the priestly functions. So Rig Vedic priest is called Hota. Yeah. And then we have Advaryu. Advaryu means what? Yajurvedic priest. Because the three Vedas, no, one by one. Rig, Yajus, Samaha. So, Yajurvedic priest, what is the name? Advaryu. Advaryuhu, like Guruhu. And then Udgatru. Who is Udgatru? Yeah. The one who sings. Gatru, singer. Singer of the Vedas. Udgata. Just like that it will decline. Udgatarau, Udgatarah. So these are the three Vedas characterized by these priests. Hotra Prakarayam. Prakarayam means that the distinctions. They are distinguished by Hota, Advaryu and Udgata. Adhikarana Bhutayam. What is Adhikarana Bhutayam? Adhikarana Bhutayam means that which has the what is that? Adhikarana Bhutayam, that which is the place, that which is the place where the karmas are discussed. You know? So that which is the place where the karmas are very much discussed. The locus where the karmas are discussed. What are they? He is not just talking about the Vedas, but the priests, the holders of the Vedas. You know, who become the loci of the karmic knowledge base. Yeah. Because without the priests, the karmas are useless. We are learning one more thing from the Bhashya, that the karmas themselves don't do anything. Even if you read, nothing happens. So you have to actually do the ritual and to get the results. So that is what is called for. And so that's why he brings in all these people, these threefold people, who are the threefold people, the Rig Vedic, Yajurvedic and Samavedic priests. And you know, where the karmas are there, you know. And then what? He may even refer to the Adhikarana Bhutayam, Prakarayam, Adhikarana Bhutayam, Trayi Sanyoga, Adhikarana Bhutayam, Bahudha, Bahuprakaram. Yeah, see, he takes Bahudha, Bahuprakaram, Santatani. He takes another meaning, he refers to it without really referring to it, that also in the Treta, another word, Treta, another meaning. What is the other meaning? In the Yuga called Treta. Santatani means spread out, very much spread out. You know, these are the ones that are there. So therefore, so they are very much in vogue in the Treta age. So the Adhikarana Bhutayam means in the age where the what's its name? Where the karmas were in vogue. That's why the location. Yeah. So first the priests are the locus of this know-how of the knowledge, and then the age itself where this came in vogue is referred to without actually talking about it by him. And then what? Therefore, Yuyam, oh, we haven't read that, yeah. Santatani. Santatani he explains by Pravrittani. Pravrittani means in vogue. So we'll repeat this. Bahuprakaram
Bahuprakaram
Santatani
Santatani
Pravrittani Karmabhihi
Pravrittani Karmabhihi
Kriyamanani
Kriyamanani
Tretayam va
Tretayam va
Yuge
Yuge
Prayashah
Prayashah
Pravrittani.
Pravrittani.
Yeah. So Tretayam Yuge or Va, another meaning. Why it is the locus? Because this was where Pravrittani, it was in vogue, when it was the Adhikarana. Adhikarana means it became the locus. How? Also in another way, Kriyamanani, that which was performed by who? Karmis, karmathas, by people given to only this, nothing else. And then Tretayam Va Yuge Prayashah. Prayashah means mostly done in the Treta Yuga also. Pravrittani, accomplished, So that is the whole thing. अतः यूयं तानि आचरथ निर्वर्तयत नियतं नित्यं. Yeah. So therefore, atah, therefore, yuyam, yuyam means what? Tvam, yuvam, yuyam. Yeah, you all. You all, what do you all do? Tani acharatha. Please follow. Please follow this. Follow the mantras, follow the karmas enjoined by the mantras, follow the know-how, etc. And when should I follow? Niyatam. All the time. Who is this yuyam? Who are these you all? Satyakamaha. Yatha bhuta karma phala. Kamaha santaha. So if you are a Satyakama, you follow. Who is this Satyakama? Yatha bhuta karma phala kankshi. The one who is desirous of the promised fruits according to each karma. So they are not interested in the yajna. What are they interested in? The punya coming. And the punya promised is according to various tracks. It's like going to a what is that? Food stand, food booth. One booth says this is Vietnamese cuisine. So everybody interested in Vietnamese cuisine in a fair. You have a town fair or something. Everybody interested in Vietnamese cuisine and eating 8 pods and octopods and all these things line up here. And then there is Indian cuisine. So everybody interested in naans and everything line up here. And then this is what? This is just coffee and tea and just cafe. Line up here. If you just need a snack, line up here. So like these various, the Veda shop, the 3 Vedas have opened shop and they are promising various things to be ingested, the fruits. And if you line up here and do as we tell you to do and pay up, the paying is the yajna, you pay up and then we'll deliver this food at the end. You have to walk a little ways and collect your thing and they'll call out your number. Except that your number will come after death, so you're not alive. That's what it is. This number goes life after life. That's how they have done a number on you. And then this goes life after life. So you stand in queue waiting for this karma phala and you wait for this karma phala and then you want this only. So this is what he is trying to explain here, is that the one that is a Satyakama is the one who is wanting the truth. What kind of truth? The truth that connects karma and karma phala. That is the relative truth. The relative model of karma, given to the ajna. Ajna means the ignorant one. Who is karmi? This is according to Adi Shankara. Karmi is the karmatha, the one who is interested only in action and result of action. He or she is called Satyakama. They are called Satyakamas. So you all please get in line, for the so-called and promised rewards. Please get into line. And get into line when? Right now. Yeah. एषः वः
एषः वः
युष्माकं
युष्माकं
पन्थाः
पन्थाः
मार्गः
मार्गः
सुकृतस्य
सुकृतस्य
स्वयं कृतस्य स्वयं निर्वर्तितस्य
स्वयं निर्वर्तितस्य
कर्मणः
कर्मणः
लोके
लोके
फलं निमित्तं
फलनिमित्तं
लोक्यते
लोक्यते
दृश्यते
दृश्यते
भुज्यते इति
भुज्यते इति
कर्मफलं
कर्मफलं
लोके उच्यते
लोके उच्यते
तदर्थ
तदर्थ
तत्प्राप्तये
तत्प्राप्तये
एषः
एषः
मार्गः
मार्गः
इत्यर्थः.
इत्यर्थः.
Yeah, big sentence. एषः वः. What is वः? Yushmakam, for you. If you are the taker of this kind of a karma, for those takers who are interested in the satya, satya here means the result of your actions. That's the satya kama. Why is the result of action called true? Because it truly happens. Avashyam bhavitvat. Yeah. Avashyam bhavitvat karma phalani. Karma phalam satyam iti uchyate. Avashyam bhavitvat. Avashyam means it's definitely going to happen because it's a karma. Every action has reaction. So there is that inevitability connected to the result of action being connected to action. That's why it is called Satyam. Definitely. So Satya Kamaha is Karma Phala Kankshi. So the one who is interested in this, in plumbing this connection and getting the Karma Phala at the end of that which is, that reward which is promised. So these Satya Kamahas, Yuyam, not Yuyam, Yushmakam, for you, Vaha, Vaha means Yushmakam, for all of you. Panthaha means the road. Margaha. This is the road that is paved with Sukritasya, Swayam Kritasya. Nirvartitasya means Kritasya. So Sukritasya means of all the, for your good deeds. The road of good deeds is the way to gain this lokas. Yeah. Lokas or whatever it is. Whatever it is one wants. So the road, what is a good deed? Good deed is, according to the ancient Vedic things, what is punya? Good deed is not good or bad. Punya. What is the punya producing? What are the punya producing actions? Two in number. Ishta karma, purta karma. Ishta purte. Ishta means what? Yajna. Purta means what? Dana, dharma, charity, ityadi. So, Ishta, religious actions, and charity, Purta. These are the only two ways to earn punya. There is no other way. Religious action and secular action of giving. That's all. Which is also actually an appendage to the religious action. But never mind. So, if you just want to, divide the two, religious action, of yajna, sitting and pouring the ghee, etc., fire rituals and prayers, and of all kinds, and then purta. What is purta? Charity, reaching out actions. So these are the only two ways to gain punya. So you pave your road to the various lokas through these two bricks, Ishta brick, Purta brick, alternating for nice emphasis and what is that? Getting a zigzag pattern on the roadway, so you can enjoy the road. So this is Ishta brick. After Ishta brick, what? Purta brick. Then another Ishta brick. So you zigzag it and straddle it out and make yourself, you are yourself making your own road to what? To the highest lokas possible, to gaining all the things that you want, So you're making, your road. So Swayam Nirvartitasya. So the nice thing is, here you are the agent of producing what you are able to what you have been unsuccessful in your life. You are the agent here. So that's why the person gets very excited when they find out that the yajnas are working. Oh my God, there is nothing like the zealot of a recent, karma hog. Yeah, yajna hog. and they will just, buy a cow to make the ghee to be able to make the ghee, because some yajnas, just to keep the person busy, they say it should be Krishna cow. What is Krishna cow? Black cow. And another milk of the black cow. That with the ghee has to be made with the milk of the black cow, just so that you'll spend more time. That's all it is, yeah. Then another one says, I remember this clearly. One time, there was an Ayurvedic physician, an extreme Ayurvedic physician came to treat Swamiji. He was very ancient, and I don't know if he's even alive now. But he came to treat, and and everybody in the ashram, everybody was going to him. And then he had extreme ways. So he said that you have to make ghee with the brown cow that has just had a baby calf with a white mark on its forehead. Ayyo, where to search? Yeah, but they found. And both the cow and the calf moved into the ashram. This is what it is. The yajnas are just like this. They take you in a maze, and because one is such a wanter, you don't give up the wants. You will go and you will even paint the cow brown, in order to, and that's why there is an expression, how now, brown cow. now you are a brown cow. Just don't do it in Eugene, because when it rains, your spoof will be called. But people go to extremes. What they get. And I also remember that somebody came to the ashram, one lady, to do this very rare yajna. And for that you needed some, Himalayan groundnut, peanut, growing in the Himalaya. Oh, it took 6 months to bring. That was not the groundnut itself. The sapling, the little thing that comes on top. The groundnut is under the ground. That's why it's called groundnut. So this on top, what was on top? That leaf, the sapling, that had to be offered. And it grew somewhere in the cold hills of the upper Himalayas. So you go there and stop breathing and then bring it back, get altitude sickness, and then do the yajna, if you remember what it was for. And this is how the Veda keeps you running, so that you gain maturity from all this. And until you don't get maturity, it keeps you running at least on the track of dharma, so that you don't lose your way. See how beautiful this is. Nothing is wasted. So here too, what is happening is that these fellows who are Satyakamas, what are they for? They are really attached and addicted to the result of the action which they truly will get. They may not get it in the measure they wanted. They may not get it at the time they wanted. They may not get it in the way they wanted it. But that they will get is for certain. And how do they know this? Because there is a logic that every action, there is a reaction. And what is the other logic? The other logic is Shraddha, which is not logic. The other thing is Shraddha keeps them going. And so with their Ishtakarma and Purtakarma, they pave the road. They pave and smooth the road, and then Sukritasya means through their good actions, and the good actions being twofold. Swayam Nirvartitasya, he explains that they themselves have paved the road. Swayam Kritasya Karmanaha, because of these actions, Karmanaha Loke. Loke comes from Sukritasya Loke. So that Loke means in these lokas. Which lokas? In this loka. And phala nimittam means lokas that are dependent upon the result. Lokas that are desired by the actions. The lokas for which sake the action was done. And what is loka? Lokyate, drishyate, bhujyate iti loka. Iti karma phalam. Loke iti uchyate. So karma phala here is called loka. Even though you may have putraishana and vittaishana, you don't have lokaishana, it's still called loka for some reasons. And the reasons are given here. First, loka, lokyate. Lokyate means to see. That which is seen. How? What do you mean by that which is seen? We are talking of the unseen lokas here. We are talking of Swarga which is unseen. Yeah. That's why he changes it to bhujyate. Seen how? In the form of experiencing comfort, experiencing happiness. So that experience of happiness with regard to getting what I want is something well known. It's as good as seen. Yeah, we just use the word seen, but actually it is bhujyate, experienced, enjoyed. Enjoyed how? Enjoyed in the form of karma phala. Therefore, karma phalam, that karma phala is called loke iti uchyate. Yeah. Tadartham, tat praptaye esha margah. Tadartham means for the sake of that, for the sake of gaining that, esha margah ityarthah. This is the road. So if you want loka here means what? Karma phala. If you want loka, desirable things that you want to enjoy, if you want that, this is the only road for you, oh you desirer of the fruit of action, who is banking on only this as the only way to gain what you have wanted. So that is what he is saying. So, eshaha margah ityarthah. यानि एतानि अग्निहोत्रादीनि त्रय्यां विहितानि तानि कर्माणि तानि एषः पन्थाः अवश्यफलप्राप्ति साधनम् इत्यर्थः. Yeah. So yani etani, yani here from the thing, tani acharatha. So yani means etani, and who are these? Yani means which mantras are we talking about? Agnihotra, karma, etc. Trayam, in these threefold Vedas, vihitani, enjoined by karmani, tani, these alone, eshaha panthaha, these roads, avashyam phalaprapti sadhanam, these roads are the only way to get what you have desired. Why? Because of many reasons. Because of your own shraddha, connecting the Ishtapurta to definitely giving results that you want, Shraddha in the Veda, and because logically you understand that every action has a fruit of action. Every action is succeeded by the fruit of action. Because of that, and because of your Shraddha in the Vedas, and because nothing else has worked, and because you really want it, and because you will go to any extent to get it, you are called Satyakamaha, means extremely persistent desirer of the fruit of action. And the fruit of action being an object of experience is called loka, and sukrutasya loke. So for gaining, it is Vishaya Saptami here. So the loka becomes the Vishaya for which karma? That is loke. Sukrutasya loke. In these lokas, which are the object of your karmas, that is what you are focusing on. And if that's what you are focusing on, come one, come all into the yajna ball and start, making ghee with the aforementioned black and brown cows, and then start offering it. This is the recipe. I'm giving you this foolproof recipe. Oh, but how do you know it works? Well, how do you know it doesn't work if you don't do it? If you keep sitting here, when will you get the brown cow? Run, go. If you go near the Eugene airport, you get all these pastures. Pick up one from there, and you get sheep, cows, all these things that are grazing in the fields. Pick up one brown cow, bring it back, keep it in the backyard, milk it, make the milk into ghee, and then start offering. Only then you will know. You can't see, this is how the pramana washes its hands off. It says the proof of the pramana is in your doing what it tells you to do. Yeah. Like if you it's like if you are given a recipe book for Christmas, what was that book? How to turn garbage into food. Yeah. And the first one was potato peel sambar. And peels, yeah, really, yeah, not a good peeling. Anyway, so So this is what it was. And then and then you already think it's not going to taste good, because you just think, okay, celery waste, potato peels, and then what else, bitter gourd tops, and all these things. You fry them in a little bit of leftover oil, yesterday's oil, and add some stock, and then make soup, potato peel soup. And you've already made up your mind it's not going to taste good. But really speaking, how do you know it's not going to taste good? You have to follow in order to write a review of the recipe book, you have to try out a few recipes, don't you? You can't just read it and say, oh, this is all rubbish, I know it won't work. You have to have shraddha in the recipe, and you have to actually buy the ingredients, and even forget any complicated recipe, even if it's a recipe for something simple like bread pudding. I mean, this is a no-brainer, soak the bread in milk and that's it, basically. And so, a convalescent food. And so, for one who is always trying to recover from samsara. So, this sick fellow, heart sick. So, bread pudding, doesn't know how to make. Buys a recipe book, So either he or she has to buy the bread and go through the whole, translating the know-how into action, correct? That is when the pramana of this bread pudding tasting good or whatever it is will fructify into the result. Either that or the fellow is hungry, he has to read the recipe book. So there is no other way. Because you cannot say the bread pudding doesn't work. This is not bread pudding. How can you say that? Unless you try it out. You have to be able to try it out. The proof of the pramana is in the pudding. This is why I chose that. Okay, yeah. So, the proof of the pramana is in the delivery of this pudding, which you are then ready in the form of the karma phala to ingest. And what is the karma? Making of the pudding, buying of the bread. And of course, in Eugene, it's always organic. People are horrified that people eat anything else, Yeah. So you go buy organic bread, organic milk, yeah. And unless you already have the brown cow in the backyard. And then what? You buy all the organic nuts and everything. And you are already organic, you know that. And then you start cooking with, you never use non-stick pots, ceramic coated something, or you take some mud from your backyard and coat the pot. It's healthier than the Teflon. So then you cook all these things, you make the bread pudding, then only you are ready to eat it. So the action of going and buying the bread, going and buying the pot, the pan, the sugar, the milk, all these things are just like the yajna. So you have to put the effort which the recipe book says. And sometimes the recipe book comes in two kinds. Some instructions say vihita karma. Vihita karma means what? Enjoined actions. And some say nishiddha karma. Don't cook it on a high flame. Otherwise, you will be charred for life. And so, don't cook it on a high flame. This is nishiddha karma. Likewise, the Vedic rituals say, don't offer from the left. Offer from the right. Offer in the middle. Don't do this. If you have grey hair, certain rituals you must not do. So like this, you are instructed in the same way as the recipe. And you cannot claim that the recipe is not going to yield something delicious unless you try it out. Only after trying it out, then it's there. So here also you cannot say, yajna doesn't work. This is all mumbo jumbo. Yes, mumbo jumbo for you if you don't try it. Either you have to consume the leaves of the manuscript which says what to do, or you have to actually do the yajna and then see if it doesn't work. It always works. That is what is called avashyam bhavi. That is what the one who is banking on it working is called satyakama. And because that is why it's the wanting that satya here is karma phala. And wanting to pave the road with ishtapurta alternative bricks in order to get somewhere, in order to feel like one has gotten somewhere. This is the human condition. And then what? Then further instructions are given how to do the yajna, for the one uninitiated. What is Upanishad doing by giving the yajna instructions? So that you you have aversion to all that it takes, because first it simply was given, here is your road. How to actually do it is now going to come. Yada lelayate hyarchihi.
Yada lelayate
Yada lelayate hyarchihi.
Yada lelayate yarchihi.
Samidhe havyavahane.
Samidheha vyavahane.
Tadajya bhagavantarena.
Tadajabhagavantarena.
Ahutif pratipadayet.
Ahuti pratipadaye.
Yada lelayate hyarchihi.
Yada lelayate yarchihi.
Samidhe havyavahane.
Samidheha vyavahane.
Tadajya bhagavantarena.
Tadajabhagavantarena.
Ahutif pratipadayet.
Ahuti pratipadaye.
Yeah, a few instructions are given of how to do the basic yajna, which doesn't require going cow shopping, etc. Yeah, how to do the basic thing that everybody does every day in the morning, every day in the evening, which is called. Huh? No, what is this called? Yajna called? Agnihotra. Agnihotra. It's a very simple thing, and simple yajna, simple instructions are given. Archis, the fire. What does the fire do? Goes like this. Right? Lelayate, undulates. Where? In the fuel, in the wood sticks, and in the fire, these undulations happen. Archi is the flame, and Havyavahane is the Agni Devata. Havyam Vahati, Havihi Vahati, Havyavahana, the one that carries all your offerings to the various, Agni Devata is the postal carrier. Carries all your offerings everywhere. So Havihi Vahati iti Havyavahana. Havyam, that which is to be offered, it carries. Tat Ajya Bhagau, the two portions of ghee, Antarena, right in the middle, called Ahuti, the two portions of ghee, Ajya Bhagau, dual. Antarena, right in the middle, which this is called Ahuti, Ajya Bhagau, Ahutihi, cha, Antarena, plonk it right in the middle. Don't go to the left, you won't get the punya. Don't go to the right, you won't get the punya. Because some you have to offer from the left, some you have to offer from the right, and here what do? Go straight in the middle. Yeah. So this comes with a lot of caveats. Yeah. Just one simple instruction. Come on, you just look for the laying flame. It lays, and as it layifies, and you offer the thing, right in the middle. Oh, but what if it burns by hand? Well, that's the risk you have to take. You have to do it carefully and put the two portions of the ghee, which are two offerings. You put ajyam is not actually ghee. It is butter that is naturally melted by the rays of the baby sun, disqualifying the Danes from doing this yajna completely. People living in Denmark, where baby sun in the winter they will see. Yeah. It's not baby sun, maybe sun. Yeah. So, and Eugene ranks a close second for such activities, where you have to put the yajna you put the ajya, you put the butter on the roof, and then wait for the dawning rays of the sun to come and gently melt it. That is called ajyam, and then it is prayed over, and then it is purified. Do you know how it's purified? The woman of the house has to specially be brought in, or the ghee has to be specially be taken to her, and she looks at it. It's a ritual. Yeah. Patnyaha Agni Ajya Vikshanam. That is when it is purified, because the woman of the household is seen as an embodiment of purity. Anything she touches becomes pure. This is the Vedas. So beautiful. So you just show it to her, because it's been there up on the terrace, and so many things, twigs may have fallen, and therefore you show it to her, and it becomes purified. Then you start the yajna. So this is how it is. Before, the women also were doing the yajna, but then since they were seen as embodiments of purity, and since somebody had to cook the lunch, the men made the rule that, okay, we'll just do the yajna, you look at the ghee, it's enough, that's your participation. So anyhow, so like this if you do, then you are promised the result that was opened with a Mahapratigya of the first verse. What is the first mantra say? That all these beautiful bricks are available for you. Pick up this brick called Agnihotra, the second mantra says, and will elucidate and tell you how to do. And the third mantra, what does it do? It doesn't give you another brick. It throws brick bats at the first two mantras and quashes them down and gives you a lot more caveats. And listening to these caveats, your head will spin, and then you will have aversion therapy for the first portion of the Vedas. You will say, don't call me Satyakama anymore. I don't want karma phala. I want knowledge which is swabhava phala, which is the result of my own nature. I want to reap that through the knowledge. Help, take me out of the first portion of the Veda. This is what you will be crying at the end of this therapy. So first, before we get there, however, we have to learn how to do Agnihotra, and we will do that, next Sunday. Next Saturday, we are not having, I'm not going to be here. Next Sunday, we will have this. No, next Sunday also we are not having. That's right. Oh, this is not going to meet for a long time. Because I am, next Sunday is 9:30 class. Dindima, because it's June 1st. Dindima. And then that weekend I'm gone. 6th to 8th I'm in Washington DC, and 13th to 15th I'm in Detroit. So this class will meet at 7:30, 21st of June. Yeah. Yes, 21st of June. Not Kathopanishad and all, that will go on. I'm just, I'll be back on the 1st, so we'll start. Weekday classes will be there. But the weekend classes of the Mundaka Bhashya, the next time it will meet is on Saturday, 21st of June, 7:30 our time, Pacific time. Okay? Yeah. So the weekday classes will continue. It's only that I'm gone during the weekends.
Except for this week.
This week they will just be at 8 o'clock and 4 o'clock Tattva Bodha will be taught. So you can log on to that every single day of the week.
They can email me because I'm doing it through Zoom. And they have to email me, and then I'll send them the link to come into the Zoom.
You come here and write all that, yeah. I'll chant she'll give you instructions, but first I will chant the closing prayer. Om Purnamadav Purnamadam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. There will not be 4 o'clock Gita class today. You can take Tattva Bodha at 4 o'clock. And because everybody is seeming a little tired, so take the, have a little break.
So I want
Yeah, you write whatever you want. I'm going